Welcome to yet another very exciting episode of Entrepreneurs Lounge. And as usual, we're shooting at Dotage Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Now, our first guest is one you're going to really love. If not for her energy, then for her product. Icon's creative director and owner, Njoki Chris. Welcome, Njoki.
Hey Ingrid, how are you?
I'm very well. What would you like to be called? Chris, Njoki? Are you picky? Do you care?
Oh, I really don't give a damn. Like, whichever is fine. We can stick with Chris though. It's easiest for most people.
Right. So Chris, Icons, tell us, what's that about?
So Icon is a company I founded 4 years ago. It's a women's wear brand, and we basically target very professional, evolving, modern women. And yeah, basically we just try and create garments and outfits that really like bring out someone's character without being too loud or being too in your face, being too obnoxious. Our lines are very clean, very sophisticated. So yeah, basically you'd be a perfect Icon girl.
Njoki, I'll buy your product. We'll talk after this.
I can even give you something on the side, you know?
We're going to talk right after this. I'm excited. I knew I was going to love you.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned 4 years ago. How did this idea come to you? Were you in employment? Then you saw obnoxiously dressed women on the street who you felt like, no. You're loud, you're bold, but there's a way in which I can figure you out without you being too in your face. What happened?
So basically, I studied design in school. There's a school in Nairobi. It's called Markensoil School of Fashion Design. That's why I studied my fashion. And when I was in school, you know, through my experiences and the different sort of people I worked with, I realized early on that I didn't want to get into custom made. And Icon is a ready-to-wear brand, you see. So we don't do any custom. We have to pre-make everything in the factory and then have them in stores. So very early on, I knew what I wanted to do with the brand. So immediately I left school. I started another fashion business, but it was mostly retail. So I would get second-hand clothes, and then I would resell them on Facebook, and that's how I slowly started to acquire some capital. And then once I had what I needed to start the brand, I just stopped that and then got into Icon.
That's impressive. Now, we're seeing a lot of designers in the industry right now having like to cover niche, and a lot of them are gravitating towards the African fabric. We're seeing a lot take that direction. What's your style like, and what are you using? Like, what's working to your advantage?
Actually, it's very interesting you've mentioned that, because I remember when I started Icon, that was like my main stance. I was like, I can't be like every designer using African fabric, right? So at the very beginning, I was very against it. And not that I hate, like I love my continent, I love Africa, but I just felt that it was the same thing. Everybody was seeing the same thing, and I needed Icon to be different. So in the beginning, we were very contemporary, very clean, you know, plain colors. And even if there was a print, it was a very modern print, you know, very minimal. And then slowly now, as the brand has sort of grown and come into its own sense, we're now experimenting more with African fabric, you know, but then doing it in a way that's not being done by everybody else. So still keeping it very modern, very minimal, but then it's stuff you can wear like any day, like on a Monday. You can wear it to work, you can dress it down, you can dress it up, you know. So for us, initially, my involvement with African fabric was not the best, but now we're sort of warming up to it.
I really like your vision, especially when you say like it's a versatile brand. You can wear it almost just about anywhere without looking too crazy. Exactly. However, you mentioned that it's all female. Do you feel like maybe there's a certain part of the market that you're locking out of your brand?
By a certain part, you mean the men? I mean, no. Of course, I considered the men, but for me, it was a natural gravitation. Of course, because I'm a woman, I know the female form, so I know how to dress myself. In fact, when I started Icon, it started with dressing myself, right? So once I know how to dress myself, and then it's easier to sort of like convince other people of like how to look like how I do, you know? So with the men's, for me, we still eventually want to get into menswear, but I just felt for the brand we needed to sort of like cement, find our own niche and like really get grounded in the fashion space first before we start trying out the menswear, which would still take a lot of learning and things like that. So we're eventually going to get there, but now we're still sort of like experimenting. Plus also with women, come on, like women shop, right. Women experiment. women do like impulse buys. You
It's
know,
true.
guys are very like lax. Guys will. I know guys who literally
Women who even
have
buy
the
for the
same.
men.
Yeah, guys will buy from the same person the entire time, from the same brand the entire time. So I feel like women are more experimental when it comes to fashion and clothes. So for us, that's what you need. Like with the fashion brand, you need people who are always buying stuff. So women for me are my prime consumer.
Understandably. So this 4-year journey that has been Icon, talk to me about it. Talk to me about the challenges. Has it been easy? Talk to me about where you started to right where we are today.
Okay, well, it's honestly a really long story, but I'm just gonna give you a bit just to sort of figure out how we came about. I remember, so when I told you about my secondhand business that I started off with, right? So before I started the brand, I knew for a fact that I didn't want to get any sort of investment. I didn't want to ask family members, parents, whatever. I didn't want to ask anyone for money. I needed to make sure that the brand can succeed on its own, that the product is actually legit, you know? So after I saved up enough money, in my mind, I thought of, okay, so I want to do ready to wear. Where do they do mass production? In my mind, I was like, China. So I was like, cool, let's go to China. So I took my ass to China and I went there and I was not ready for, you know, what was presented to me. What I didn't think about is the massive MOQs. MOQ is minimum order quantity, right? Massive MOQs in China. You know, the guys here are making for guys like H&M, ASOS, you know, people who are ordering 10,000 pieces, you know. So I'm there, a tiny girl from Kenya. I haven't even started my brand. I don't have anything. Like in Kenya, I haven't established Icon in any way. I don't even have a logo. I remember when I was there, I actually came up with my logo on my phone and then I printed the labels right there in like 10 minutes. But then eventually I got like a small factory that was able to do less MOQ. It still wasn't that little, but I mean, it was the least I could get. And in my mind, I was thinking...
With your budget?
With my budget. And in my mind, I was thinking, I can't come all this way and live without anything. So I'm there and I literally dropped all the money I'd saved, like right there, you know? And they told me the stuff will be ready in 1 month. I was like, cool. I came back to Nairobi. And in a month, I was so excited. I remember that day, I was so excited. They gave me the call, your stuff is here. We're going to bring it to you, so just complete the payment, right? So I completed my payment. Stuff came, I was so excited. And I remember I opened the box and I took out the first piece of clothing and like my heart sank because it was different fabric. Oh my God, it was terrible. And I'd put down all the money I had saved in a year and a half. I'm telling you, that whole day, I was in tears. I was crying. I cried all day. I was inconsolable. Even now thinking about it, it's almost bringing tears to my eyes.
Has that been your biggest lesson?
That's been my biggest lesson. And I'm telling you, you see, I could have stopped at that time because it was right at the beginning. I could have stopped then. But I was like, no, you know, because then I'd brought in from my trip, I'd brought in a bit of fabric in my suitcase. And I thought, you know what? I can either let this stop me or I can just like try and fix it. So I just took those, the little fabric I had, and I made a small collection, took the photos myself, got a model who was like my sister's friend, and did everything myself, created a nice lookbook, and I just sent emails to everybody I knew in the fashion industry. And one person hooked it up, and they were like, I like this, and they put it on Instagram, and we just took off from there.
Has it been worth it? Even with everything you've gone through, why?
It's been worth it because I think for me the biggest thing is knowing that I can have a vision in my head of how, because I believe in women and I believe in empowering women. I believe in strong women. I think I'm a strong woman and I want every other woman to feel the way I feel, you know? So I try and do that through clothing. So when I see somebody taking a piece of item, putting it on and feeling that sense of strength, for me that's enough. You know, I know I'm doing something right.
So we're seeing so many designers in the country, some upcoming, some already established. What would you say, what are some of the platforms you're leveraging on? What are you taking advantage of to push your product out there? How are you doing it?
So for me, the first and foremost, social media, you know, and that's something because when I started the brand, social media wasn't as prominent as it is right now. And I mean, right now, if you're anybody looking to start anything, the first thing you should do for anything, social media. Before you have a logo, don't sweat the big stuff. It's those small free things. I always believe
How can someone, I'm so glad you've mentioned that aspect of social media, because a lot of brands are taking that path.
Yes.
But how can someone fully take advantage to get the most of it? Because it's working for some people, it's not working for others. So what tips would you give in terms of taking like the most maximum advantage of social media?
So, I mean, for me, of course, as I'm giving this advice, I'm going to be biased because I run a fashion business, right? So I'm going to say, like, if you're running a fashion business, especially if you make the products yourself, have samples, right? And then with these samples, that's what pinpoint different stylists who work with notable personalities, yeah? And then go to these stylists and work together with them, with your samples, to dress these people, to get your products seen. Yeah, because the thing with social media is visibility. You need to make sure your brand is visible. You need to make sure your products are visible. So even if it's hard to reach personalities individually, you can reach them through the people who work with them. So these are the stylists, the makeup artists, you know, people in their circles, work with that. And then also be consistent. The thing with social media is, if say you're posting regularly every day, and then you take a break for like a week, with the Instagram algorithm, you sort of like go down on everybody's feed. So it's going to take you another month to sort of pick up again, you know? So if you're going to commit to social media, be consistent, have a plan, you know? Make sure, even if you don't have access to like a professional photographer or whatever, I'm pretty sure you have access to a phone. Everybody these days has a smartphone. Just use the smartphone camera, make sure you're in good lighting, and then take the pictures. Use some free editing apps, like make the most of free things. I think people immediately, when they want to start a business or they think about business entrepreneurship, they want, oh, I need money. Oh, I need money for this and this. But it's like, no, you don't need money. What you need is to take advantage of the free platforms you have. You have the Facebooks, the Instagrams, you know, things like that.
Njoki, I'm really loving your story, but we have to take a break real quick. And that's Njoki Chris, creative director and founder of Icon Fashion Line. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge. Now, my next guest is Boniface Mahulo, who is the founder of 3 different businesses across the region. However, today we'll be talking about Jipende Africa. Welcome, Boniface.
Thank you so much.
Jipende Africa.
Jipende Africa.
Tell me about it.
Jipende Africa is a new baby on my line of companies within Africa. And this is a company that was born out of desperation, trying to fill up the gap of new cosmetic product that we actually can work for African skin. So we did a lot of research, and in the line of research we realized that we have a lot of chemicalized product in our Africa market. These products are taking over the market. They have very high side effects in terms of how the result of using them on the long term. So in the process of doing the research, we came up with a solution that we have to go back to Africa root. Products were very gentle on our skin, they worked for us, and we have statistics that prove to that. So we came up with the new line of Jipende Africa, simply that we need to love ourselves. Jipende is Swahili, Africa is Swahili, name also with a K at the end. So we came up with the line of Jipende Africa, which basically we are stockists of strictly African natural and organic skin and hair care products.
Now that's a very good area I feel like you've gone in, because when it comes to Africa, we're very blessed with some of these resources that we don't take advantage of. However, skincare is also one of those sensitive areas. So what has been the reception of your products on the market? Like, have people been embracing? Because people are very wary when it comes to what they put on their skins. So how do you feel Jipende Africa is doing?
Actually, the reception is very interesting, because we have gone by doing what you call just a brief consultation. Before we recommend the product you need to use, you have to do a brief consultation. You need to know about your history. You need to know the product that you're using. We need to tell you our product certification, because all our products are certified. They are tested, approved, and certified. Some of the products that are 100% organic products that are made strictly for export. So you realize that you have very quality products made in Africa, but they're not sold in Africa. They're being exported out there. So that you have the EcoCert certification, we have the USDA, that's organic, certified. We have Fair Trade certification. So you can trust all those brands that our product fully certified. And beyond that, we also do the skin test, which most of the companies don't do who selling cosmetic products. So we'll come to your outlet, or we do phone consultation or online consultation to understand about your skin type, your hair type, any challenges you have, because some of our products, most African products are medicated. Just to simplify, they are very medicated, most of them. So before we recommend any product, we take you through that process, that create confidence, and you give us feedback at least after 4 weeks.
Who would you say is your main target with these Jipende Africa products, and how are you reaching them?
Our main target, we say, is generally we are looking at both male and female. We're looking at all age, because we have a product that will work for even the 1-day-old kid who is born. We have product that will work for even about 50, because all of us, we are using different products on our skin in one way or another. So our main target is generally everyone who is interested or who want to try and do something new. So we target everyone in the market, and probably I'll say the way we are trying to reach out in the market is through putting our product on social media. We have taken advantage of Instagram, social media, where we educate people about our product. When we talk about aloe vera or we talk about essential oils, every specific product we are talking about, we are creating how it's used, how it's manufactured, and how it will benefit your skin. So it simplifies the process. At the same time, also, we have a plan, a strategy plan. As a business and as an entrepreneur, you must have a look of the future, because we know you might have backlash, people are not aware of African product. So what we do is that we have referrals. We encourage referrals, whereby when you use our product, you find it to be good, you refer client, and then you get like a gift hamper. That's number one. Number two is we have free consultation. That consultation, anyone is allowed to come to your outlet. Whether you are buying or not buying, just come and experience. We have samples that we're giving out to the people. Go and test our product. You'll be our ambassador, because once you get certified, and then we'll be able to talk about our product to other customers.
So your product is beyond just Kenya, right?
It's beyond Kenya.
Now, we all know that sometimes when it comes to penetrating some of these other African countries, you can meet, it's not the easiest thing when you're working in your own country. So when we're talking about Jipende Africa and just your businesses in general, what have been the main challenges you've encountered in just putting your products out there?
I'll say it's the perception. The biggest challenge is the perception. That's why we are concentrating more on awareness than in sales. So we came up with a strategy whereby for the first 6 months, we just need to create awareness. We are not looking at the sales, of course. I know we are straining on that because of financial aspect part of it, but it's the perception. We have a problem in Africa, actually, whereby we don't value and we don't really appreciate our own products. We think like imported products are the best. So the biggest challenge is perception. Perception, we have to educate people about the product. We have to make sure that this product also, as we talk about them and create awareness, they are quality control product, so that it works as it's expected to work to people's skin. Penetrating the market across Africa, we are trying to concentrate on e-commerce. We want people to buy all over Africa from the e-commerce, which we are launching in a month's time. We're going to launch e-commerce, whereby you can buy and we deliver within. We are starting with East Africa. Yeah, so as per now, we are already supplying in Kenya. So once we launch the e-commerce, then we are going to go all over East Africa as we increase to other parts of Africa. The good thing about that is some of the products that we bring in our outlet already are known in those markets. If you are getting a product from Uganda and Ugandan people buy, they already know that product. If you're getting it from Ghana, South Africa, they already know. It's a very common product that is there. People are using, they know the quality. So already we have a clientele base that we can start with. But the perception is a big challenge. We need to educate people specifically to understand exactly what they are buying. So our concentration is there. For the coming 6 months, we are working with our suppliers, the manufacturers, the partners, that we need to create awareness, because this is something that have to be global. Yeah, we have the wrong perception of chemicalized products. People think they are working, but the side effect actually is 90%. Yeah.
Having efficiently and effectively run 3 businesses across the continent, what would you say are some of the greatest lessons you've learned across like your entire trade that now you take into running the rest of your business, even your newest baby Jipende? What have been your biggest learning points?
There's a lot. Maybe I'll put it in a group of like 5 or 7. Being an entrepreneur, it takes just more than selling a product. First, there's kind of character that have to be, that you need to pose as you do your business. Lesson that I've learned, if I may just be specific, one is that as an entrepreneur, you have to look, first of all, you have to be very passionate. To build passion on every product or every business that you're venturing in. I won't say that I'm passionate about everything, but because I'm a business person, as an entrepreneur, I'm trying to gap in the problem. I'm trying to give a solution where there's a challenge. So some business that I'll venture in is actually business that I'm not passionate about it, but I have to create passionate because at the end of it, I need to succeed in that business. So you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to love it dutifully. Second thing I'll say, you have to be always optimistic. I mean, whether it's working or not working, you'll have to go and forcefully experience that. Be self-motivated. Doing business is not easy, especially when you're venturing into other different lines or a different country. No one knows you. You're trying to network and you can't get a connection. So you have also to go beyond yourself. Wake up of your comfort zone. Another thing, we'll see, be a good financial manager. That's something I think a lesson I have learned through that some of the thing that you need to be sure is as you plan yourself to venture into business, you must have objectives, and this is also based on the budget and what you want to achieve. Because some of the mistakes probably I have done is that you venture into business, you put all the money, it doesn't work out for you as expected, and then you running into losses. You can not even secure the business in the process. So good financial manager is very important for you. Make sure that if I have probably out of 100% that I have, I can invest only 60%. And then I'll remain with the 20% for emergency, 20% for support. So in case of anything happen, then you're good also to move forward. And good network, very important for a business person. I mean, be all social. Look at the challenges people are facing, network with different people who are above you and probably who are in the same business line that you like to do. Because sometimes if you feel that you have it all, or you have started your business, you're earning some little money, you feel like, I don't need to network, I need to learn something new, I need to walk around and see what is happening out of Africa. So good networking is also very important for entrepreneur. And probably another one is what? Adventurous.
Okay. Now, Boniface, one final thing. What's your vision for Jipende Africa? In 5 years, where would you like to see Jipende Africa?
I want Jipende Africa to be a brand name in the continent. I want Jipende Africa to be beyond Africa, whereby when we go in Euro market, US market, whereby people can look at Jipende Africa and associate themselves with a brand that they stock quality, tested and certified product. When I say that I'm going to buy to Jipende, I'm sure of what I'll get there and give me the exact one. That's my vision.
Thank you, and that's been Boniface Mahulo, the founder of Jipende Africa, a cosmetic line that makes use of homegrown products. Quick fire round. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge, and we're going to go right into the quick fire round. Now, Njoki Boniface, in this round, we're going to find a queen and a queen or a king, depending. So what happens is I'm going to ask you 5 very random trivia questions. The trick is to answer each question correctly. First person with the right answer gets a point. You answer each question in less than 30 seconds. At the end of it all, the person with the highest correct answers is the queen of our quick fire round or the king of our quick fire round.
We get a gift.
Jockey, you're not even sure if you're going to win. Can you win first, then we'll find out. First with the title, the queen. Doesn't queen have a nice ring to it? Or king? You better win. Ready? Any questions?
No, you're good.
You're good? Okay, quick fire questions. Number 1. Who invented the light bulb?
Thomas Edison.
Wow, girl, you really did come to win. That's true. Quick fire question number 2. What is the most popular cereal brand in the world?
Kellogg's.
What? Jockey? Did someone give Jockey these questions? Quick fire question number 3. Boniface, come on. Yeah, you can do this. She told us earlier she doesn't like to lose, and clearly. Okay, quick fire question number 3. Who was the top fashion designer of 2018?
Fashion designer or fashion brand?
Designer of 2018.
Louis Vuitton?
No.
Oscar?
No. Donatella Versace, believe it or not.
How could I not get that?
How could you not? You're a designer.
That's the only thing I know. Wow.
Are you sure you should be a designer? Right?
Yeah.
Quick fire question number 4. Forbes unveiled the world's highest musician of 2018. Who was it?
Was it a guy or a chick?
It was a girl. Her world's highest
Black or
paid
white?
musician
Black
of
or white?
2018.
Black.
Black Boniface! Woman.
Beyonce!
Black. Yes!
Beyonce!
You're cheating.
Okay.
Beyonce.
Boniface, you can't go out without at least one.
Maybe I'm
One.
not just that
This
kind
one,
of
this last one is the one that, this is yours. Quick fire question number 5. What is the currency for Cuba? You know, like Kenya shillings? What is the currency for Cuba?
Okay, give me a
Starts
hint.
with a P.
P. Pesos.
Really? How do you do it? Wow.
I surrender.
I thought so. Wow. 5-0. Honestly, that's a first entrepreneur's lounge.
Really?
No one has ever got all questions right. Congratulations.
everything. Thank
Queen
you.
Joki, you
Thank
are
you.
today's quick fire winner. Thank you for joining
But you
us,
took me
Boniface.
through the Cerelac, fashion,
You feel like there were biased questions?
somehow.
No, I apologize. But you saw her. She was ready. She came to compete. Well, that's all we had for you today on Entrepreneurs Lounge with my 2 very, very motivational and inspiring guests, Njoki of Icon and Boniface of Jipende Africa, both doing very, very different things and making it in their own right. We're shooting at Dotage exclusive furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. That's it. Have a very wonderful evening.